way off in the distance. The speaker must be 7,000 years old and 200 feet up under the dash. So, new dash. Thanks, Fernando. Over in Casa Grande, went and picked it up. Doesn't match everything else, but the new door that we got for this, on this side, has a gray panel, and we got gray seats, and now a gray dash. So maybe eventually all of this will be gray. Hopefully, maybe. I think that's the way we're leaning. The gray doesn't look bad. I had gray in my 91 GT, so it's a good color. As you can see, it matches really well with the red. It flows. It's a good feng shui. Let's see here. I don't think it's going to let me see the chat without. There it goes. What's up? I told you, see, it matches the seat. The new door on that side has a gray panel, so I mean, we're just slowly getting to that point. That's what's good about all this. The problem is now it doesn't really look dirty from there, but all of this is just a disaster. It is an absolute disaster. Trying to find all the nuts and bolts and screws and everything else, and plus all the wire loom, the old copper, or not copper, but the cloth crap is everywhere, all over the inside of the shop. It's been a disaster. So putting this dash in hopefully is the last time for a long time. This is the 5th time within the last 2 weeks that I've had this dash in and out of this thing. Thank you, George. Yes. Well, it'll be 5.0 for now, but it might be 5.8 later. Thank you, Oscar. The problem I've run into so far is that I've taken out about 400 screws out of this entire thing. And now that I'm getting down to the last of it to put it back in, I've run out of screws. And I'm not sure where they went. No, it's actually gray. It's hard to tell in this camera. It kind of makes it like a blue hue, but it's all gray. And that door panel over there is going to be gray and match the seats. And like I said, I think it flows really well with the red. It's kind of a, it doesn't flow very well, but I think it'll look all right. Looked a whole lot better than that other dash. For those of you who remember, this was all destroyed on this side. Thank you, Joe. Let's see if I can find the rest of these screws to get all this stuff back in here. And if I miss your comment while I'm doing all this, just keep going, keep saying it. I'll catch it one of these times when I look over. Any of you that got those 5 liters, have you put in the LMR center console that gets rid of the smoke or the cigarette stuff ashtray and put in the cup holders? I'm thinking that's going to be the upgrade to do, honestly. Thing is disgusting. For those of you who've seen it when we first got this car, it was all pretty disgusting, but like this soda stain here doesn't come off. It's like permanent. I don't know how it made its way into the plastic and now it's permanent, but it is 100% permanent now. along with all the grime on this armrest. What pics you trying to post? Doesn't allow me to see the chat. Only flashes the comments, so I'm sorry if I miss them. Yeah, so the cup holder, I think it would be a nice touch. You got one, Joe. Is it worth it? Does it actually hold a full Circle K soda cup in there? Or is it just like the little tiny ring in the bottom where the cup sits in there and then it just flies out halfway through a turn and makes this kind of mess? Yeah, James, the dash. Somebody told me earlier that it was a rite of passage, but it is just, I could have done without it. I could have found some other rite of passage without doing this 5 times. And honestly, trying to find all the screws, again, has been kind of a nightmare as well. But it's coming along, we're getting there. Oh, well, do they have like, what did they have out in, do they have a Sheetz in New York? I was in North Carolina for like 4 years, so. It's actually a gray one. This camera's just making it look blue. It's not really blue. Let's see if I can change the hue somehow. It's given some really weird filters. Nope, that's not the filter I was looking for. No, still kind of blue. I promise it's gray. I promise you. It's not blue. What's up, Ben? Yeah. Well, it should only be a one-seater because being a passenger in this thing is probably terrifying. That one needs a new piece. That corner's broke off on that side. It looks all right for now. I didn't catch what you guys just said. For some reason, it doesn't show me the full shot. It just pops up with a comment. No Circle K's in Alabama either? You guys are missing out. It's the greatest thing ever. Today it's 107 degrees. It's not so bad in the shop with the swamp cooler rolling, but it's warm outside for sure. Yeah, so the dash that I got from Fernando in Casa Grande, there you go. See, Jeff knows what I'm talking about. Those Circle K cups and drinks for, what is it, 79 cents? It's the way to go. But this dash is out of a 93, so it has like the check engine light and the oil light and airbag and everything is over here on the corner. The cluster still fits, so all the check engine light and oil up there work just fine, but it's a little bit different in the bottom and the top and where the fuse panel is for this dash, which just made it work and it looks good. You know, I don't remember seeing a Circle K in Tennessee, but it makes sense. There's also a bolt broke off in this armrest, so this will be interesting to try and get down in here. They got them all the way up in Alaska. See, I mean, it's a hit. Those of you that don't have them in your state, you're missing out, I'm telling you. This is all the kind of stuff you guys miss when I edit the videos and cut this stuff out. It's just hours and hours and hours of me fighting one bolt at a time. I don't know, maybe some of you guys want to watch that, but I feel like all I'm doing is sweating and swearing and cutting myself and smashing fingernails and everything else. There it goes. I didn't willingly want to go, but it's in there now. See, here's the problem. So now I don't have any bolts that fit in there. I don't know what to secure this thing with. Oh, found one. I don't know if you guys could hear my horse, but he consistently laughs at me while I'm struggling. It's probably words of encouragement, but I just take it as he's laughing at me. Where did that bit driver go? There it is. That's cross-dressed tight. It's also one thing I didn't know when I bought these seats is, well, actually I kind of knew that they're convertible seats, and apparently convertible seats don't recline all the way back. They recline to a certain point and they stop. They don't go any further. So that's kind of interesting. I'm tall, and I want to get away from the steering wheel. Kind of just have to live with it. Alright, I think we are ready for a seat on that side. And actually what needs to happen is a nice vacuum through this entire thing, and maybe some pesticide. Alright, let's see if we can scroll through some of this chat. Maybe. I feel like one of those 60-year-old grandparents trying to figure out how to use their phone for the first time. So most of you that have popped up in the chat so far, I saw Tennessee, New York, Alaska, Iowa, or something. I think it was Iowa. Might have been Iowa. Anyways, you guys are working on sunset out towards that direction. Kind of wish the sun was setting around here. Be a little cooler. What's up, Wes? I'm in Peoria. The other side of the valley from here, for those who are not familiar. So, Bama, I've actually, in my 91 Fox body, I actually bought some of that dye paint from LMR and tried to dye paint the armrests, and it flaked off almost instantly. I know there's a process for getting that to adhere better, but I did everything that it said to do on the instructions, but it still flaked off, so I wasn't too jazzed about doing that whole process again. But it is definitely cheaper than buying all these parts new. However, a lot of these parts just are not worth painting. They are completely destroyed and falling apart, so it's probably just gonna end up finding something in a junkyard. But oh, let's see here. Yeah, the QTs are on every corner too. QTs are nice, but their soda tastes kind of weird to me. You know, actually, I'm not drinking soda anymore. That's a lie. I drink it all the time. But the sodas at Circle K don't. They just taste funny to me for whatever reason. But they are much, much cleaner and far fewer crackheads hanging out front. And Too Broke, if you're bagging and tagging all your bolts, you are a better man than me. I go with the method of just popping it off the screwdriver and letting it fall in the floorboard, and then trying to find it later. Nice. Michigan. Are you in the glove, or are you in the little corner above Wisconsin? Missouri. Nice. I wish it was 77 degrees here. It actually, in 2.5 hours from here up north, is actually nice and cool. I think it was like 67 the other day, about 6,000 feet. Yeah, Charlie, we're making progress on this thing, and thank you again for that throttle body and the mass air. The mass air I'll probably have to switch out because it's not totally calibrated. The factory one that I have in there with that larger, the 75. In there I'll probably have to put the factory one in, but that throttle body works perfect. It's beautiful. Thank you. So is it a dye Too Broke, or is it a spray? Are you talking about like for the carpeted stuff, or what are you talking about that worked well? Funky Stangs has great videos. We'll have to check that out, actually. Oh, so Bama, when I was in North Carolina, the hottest it got was like maybe 90 degrees, but everything was black flag. Everything. It was 100% humidity pretty much the entire summer, and it was disgusting. I actually went down to Fort Rucker for a while, and it was a little bit of a relief. It was like August or so, so it was still kind of sticky as hell, but with all the tall pine trees and everything else like that, it was a bit of a relief. There was more shade, I believe, is what made it feel better. Why'd you take the whole thing apart, Too Broke? 80 in Ohio. Nice. It's been a long time since I've been to Ohio. I was stationed in Fort Knox for a while when we used to go snowboarding up in Ohio. I think Duncan, somewhere around there. There's like a 500-meter hill that is like the only skiing and snowboarding place in the entire state or region. A spray can. Interesting. I'll have to look into that. Nice. So, you know what I really liked about Fort Rucker? They have horse stables. Well, most of the bases have horse stables in them because that's where we put our horses when we were in Lejeune, was on the stable, and it was beautiful. But the one in Fort Rucker was absolutely beautiful. There's the way the fields are laid out and the pastures and stuff like that. It was a really beautiful place. And there's Blackhawks flying everywhere all the time, which is really cool because the Warrant Officer School. 30 degrees up there, Ben? I don't know. You are a special person to live up there in that. You must really, really like the snowmobiles. Is it super humid in Oklahoma? We had looked at moving somewhere in Dallas, somewhere near Dallas, like East Dallas, when we were getting out of Lejeune. And we were just worried about it being super humid because we've been down to like Houston, stuff like that, and driven around in that whole area, and it's just disgusting humid. So we were trying to get away from all that, which was a big reason we came back to Phoenix. But nice. I haven't had a chance to go up into Northeast Ohio. I think, yeah, the farthest I've been is Lima or whichever. It's where my dad lived growing up, with all the steel mills and all the other stuff that used to be around there. And to be honest, geography-wise, I have no idea where that actually is. I'd have to look at a map again to see where it was. just riding along with them. I bet the closer you get down towards like Louisiana and stuff like that is just disgusting. Nice, man. Working on the helicopters, that's a great career. And getting out, he's just gonna rake in the cash. Brutal does videos on the die too. The guy has a lot of videos on a lot of how-to stuff. I'm gonna have to check it out. Oh man. You know you're getting close to done with the project when you have more tools on the floor than bolts left. Light at the end of the tunnel, you know. The dash is pretty much done. I just got to put the seat back in here and it's pretty much good to go. And then I'm going to change that door over there, which is going to be a whole nother pain in the, you know, exactly what I'm trying to describe. But I'm glad to have this dash in here. I think we're really going to enjoy driving around with it now that it's not trying to fall into your lap when every time you hit a bump or anything like that. You need to find some new switches. The switches that came in this thing, or in this column that Fernando gave me, for some reason they didn't line up or didn't push all the way forward. So you could push it forward and it would only turn on the parking lamps. It wouldn't go all the way forward. And I'm not sure if that was like a 93 thing or something, but what's up, Rafter? So how often does he get to fly a helicopter in Alaska? I feel like it's super windy and inclement weather pretty much 90% of the time. Or is that just my bad outlook or how I would vision that it being up there? I haven't been up to Alaska yet. So. Yeah, Brutal's in Alabama, isn't he? Yeah, I don't envy you, Charlie. I kind of just went through that all with this thing, but it was mostly just getting all the wires bundled back together and then fixing the broken connectors and stuff like that. The biggest problem I had is with the ignition switch, and it just, whoever had stolen this or got it back from when it was stolen just zip tied it all, because that whole cylinder, everything is broken. When it stuck a screwdriver in there and broke it and just started it. So the ignition switch had a zip tie on it holding it together, and once I saw the zip tie I clipped it and the whole switch and springs and everything, the connectors or contacts fell out of it. So I was glad to find that and swap it out, and then everything worked again. But having to take the dash out a couple times to actually find that was not exciting and not on my want to do again list. So we got a nice glove box and a working light. That's nice. This button doesn't work for the trunk though. There's no plug under here. Got a button but no plug. I couldn't find it anywhere. Yeah. Sometimes everything's just hacked together. Let's see. It was actually not too long ago. I looked at one of Brutal's videos, and he had just finished 66 Fastback, I think, whichever Mustang he's got that he just finished out, and he was doing something and leaned against it or something like that and put a big gash in the door. And if I was him, I probably would have cried right in that moment, but I felt for him, that's for sure. Yeah, I feel like any of the plugs or connectors in this thing are sketchy. They just explode anytime you touch them. Oh, that makes sense for the helicopter from village to village. That does make sense. Yeah, I believe it. They don't look like they're supposed to fly. And when we were doing all the training and everything to do like medevac and all that business, The Navy doesn't use Blackhawks. They don't have Blackhawks, and I am okay with Blackhawks. I don't really necessarily like being up in rotary wing and flying around, but I feel a little bit of a comfort in Blackhawk. So what the Navy does is the Navy, when you go operational and you start doing all the, it's like in-route care and stuff like that, the medevac or CASEVAC is what they call it, from the point of injury to the military hospital or whatever, roll 2, roll 3, whatever you're flying to. They use vehicles of opportunity. They don't have a designated air ambulance like the Army does with a big cross on the side of it. So they use vehicles of opportunity. So whatever gets to that casualty first hauls it for a certain distance till the next means can get them and haul them to another place. And it usually ends up being the Marines in the Super Stallion or the V-22 Osprey. And I don't know if any of you have ever had the chance to ride in either one of those, but they are terrifying. They often fall out of the sky unannounced, and it's never a good time. And also the crew chief will let you know as soon as you get on that if you see it stop leaking fluid from the ceiling, to let him know, because that's trouble. So if they leaking, they ain't flying is what the whole story was, and that is just absolutely terrifying. So I never enjoyed flying in those, but they look really cool and they're huge. The Super Stallion is massive, but it's terrifying. Just a whole lot of nope. I'd rather fly in a Black Hawk anytime, any day. All right. I think this, it is a new-ish dash. It is new to me, old to Fernando, who I got it from Casa Grande. It is a beautiful gray, and everything works, and all the mounting points are in one piece, which is fantastic. So really excited about that. No problem, Bama. Thank you. What's up, Terry? Thank you, Daredevil. I think it looks much better than that piece of crap over there on the floor. It's actually back there. Don't judge the shop right now, okay? It's been a rough couple weeks trying to get all this together. I will clean it out, I promise you. Actually, tomorrow I'm putting together the video of the test drive of Earl. I need to take him out for a couple hours, and we're going to take him down towards Tucson and see how he does on the trip on the interstate and everything with the new gears, and then head back. And so I'm going to film that one out tomorrow, and that one will be up on Saturday morning. But after that, I'll get this whole thing cleaned. Try to, anyways. It is a disaster. I think mostly just roll around a magnet and then leaf blow everything out the other side. Yeah, I don't blame you, Charlie. Hey, I mean, you only got about another month or so of it just being disgustingly hot, Daniel. So if you start working on the motivation now, maybe it'll peak right about the time that the temperature's coming down. Yeah, so you were in the 53s, and that's a Stallion, or if I'm getting the nomenclature right, pretty sure. But anyways, they're huge helicopters. It's like a bus in the air, and they can hold a lot of people. And they also hold a lot of people as they plummet to the earth. You know, I had considered doing an EcoBoost. The 3.5 twin turbo is pretty easy to find. It's kind of like the LS and all the trucks everywhere. They're super pricey though, is the problem. And it definitely is, it's like almost flat. It's so wide, there's no way it'll fit in the front. It would definitely have to be rear engine. and then I would have to run it backwards with a transfer case or a drop box, and then back to the rear end. So I don't know. That's a lot of it's a lot of new technology to put in the van. Unless one that's like fell in my lap, I don't know that that'd be something we consider. Even the 4-cylinder, it might be too big for that little area in the front. But I don't know. It's with the harness and the computer and all that other stuff. I don't know that an EcoBoost would probably be on the list doing something. We'd probably do a 302 or 351 and put turbos on it, and then we can call that an EcoBoost. That's middle ground. It is a dry heat, and I promise you, if you go, and Bama can probably agree with me on this, if you go into the south in the middle of the summer in 100% humidity, it will take your breath away. And then you get in a plane and you fly to Phoenix, and you get off the plane, and it's this heat. It is like opening an oven, but it's this comforting, warm heat. It's hard to explain. You don't die when you walk outside from humidity. It will sneak up on you, and it does get you sick. You can get heat stroke just like anything else, but it's not like this hot, moist blanket just laying over the top of you all the time. Yeah, it would be a ton of fabrication and such. Actually, probably not as much fabrication as that 6BT would be to put in there, but it's the price would be the biggest problem, I would think. Yeah, I don't mind C-130s too. They're noisy, but I don't mind them at all. I did a lot of flights in the Army in Hueys, and that was kind of terrifying because with just the two blades, the inside sits there and goes like this, like the doors and everything. It's almost like it's breathing while you're flying. It's kind of interesting. I'm wondering how the air chassis fatigues, and that's. I am not going to duct tape drags. I'm actually going to Run to the Pines, so up in Sholo. There's a car show and a like a tour up there. So I'm going to go to that one this year. Went to the duct tape draps last year, and so I want to check this out. And only like 500 cars can get into this Run to the Pines, and we were lucky enough to get selected. So we're going to go ahead and do that this year, see what that's all about. And I lived up in Cholo for a little while, so it'd be nice to go up and visit and everything else like that. So we're going to check that out this year. If you're in Arizona and you want to go see a giant car show with a parade and everything else, Run to the Pines is going to be 27th through 29th. And I think the actual tour and such is going to be on the 28th. But don't hold me to that. Look it up, but pretty sure. I should probably know that since it's coming up pretty soon, but yeah, 100% humidity, no thanks. Yeah, I'm telling you. Connecticut's beautiful. What's up, David? Yeah, so I think when I was up in Rhode Island for a couple months for training and stuff like that, that's a beautiful area. It was leaning towards winter when I was up there, so it was a little cold. Actually, it was coming out of winter, it was spring. So it was a little cold, but it's beautiful up there. I think all that old stuff is just cool as hell. Like we did, took our anniversary in Boston one time, and seeing the Freedom Trail and all that business was probably the coolest stuff ever. The stuff that's been around forever is just kind of, you can't see that anywhere on the West Coast. We don't have that type of history out in this area. Like all the properties and everything with the stacked rock walls, the cobblestone and all that other stuff is just crazy beautiful, and the brick and all that business. So I would not necessarily like to live out there because I also don't like the cold, which is kind of how I ended up here in Phoenix. But it's definitely a beautiful place, and I'd love to go check out all that stuff again. I think the farthest north I've been is Niagara Falls. Is that above Boston? I don't know. Close-ish. Not good with geography. So George, the idle is better. I actually bumped it up again, so it's running around 900 RPM at an idle, because it would sit there and it would surge a little bit when the fans would kick on, and then it had trouble keeping up with it. It was almost like a increasing tidal. It was like the more it would surge, the worse it would get. So I had to bump it up a little bit to make up for it. Now it just surges a little bit when you first start it, and then it goes away. So I'm super happy about that. Chances are we'll probably end up swapping out this computer and the harness for a Holly anyways, just so the adjustability and having to get rid of that mass airflow. But it is finally drivable, which is nice. So I actually just got the dash in, David. I tried to get most of it done before I turned on this live, because all you would be seeing is my underwear and my ass crack sticking out. So got all that knocked out, and just about finishing up. I actually need to vacuum all the floor and everything else and throw that seat in, and then it'll be done, and then it'll be good for test drive, and then go get this AC charged and all that business. Australia, nice. Everything really is backwards out there. Well, I guess it's right for you and backwards for us, but so the northern part of Australia is humid and disgusting, and the southern is nice and cool. Interesting. I just never considered that, so that's kind of cool. It makes sense, but I just never considered it. I don't know of an oil pan for Fox Body that has an oil drain built into it. I think if you could get the pan off easy enough, it would be pretty easy to weld in a bung for it. But no, I don't know any pans that had the turbo drain built into it. I'm sure they're around somewhere. Somebody's got to have something, but I think Summit would be the best place to look. I don't know for sure. It is gray, yeah. Even though on this phone it looks blue, it is a gray dash. It matches the seats and the new door. Yeah. I wouldn't call it super pro with removing the dash. It's more of like I just take out a bunch of bolts until it falls on top of me, and then unplug everything. But I am familiar with taking out the dash. So yes, if you or any of you guys need help taking out a dash, I will 100% tell you no. I'm not helping. Not going to do it. No, I don't want to do your heater core. There's not even, that's not, no. None of that sounds fun at all. I can't think of a single vehicle that did heater core in that it wasn't a colossal pain in the ass. Not one. Can't think of a single one. Not even an old vehicle. They're just all a pain in the ass. All right, guys, it was good talking to you. Had lots of people join in, and that's real cool. I appreciate all of you guys and all the stories and everything. It is a nightmare. I totally agree. I'm going to go ahead and start vacuuming the stuff out, throw the seat in, and that way we can get this thing out and get the air conditioning charged. And I still got to change out that door. It seems like it never ends. Because we'll probably end up swapping everything out in this entire car to a gray, since we're already gray dash, gray seats, and that door panel over there is going to be gray. And everything in here has to be changed. Everything red you see is absolutely destroyed. It's not even worth keeping. So It's going to get swapped anyways and probably go with the gray. That's why I didn't paint it before throwing it in. And I've really not had any good luck with the paint or the dye. So there is a bunch of stuff on here. These guys commented and gave me some good tips and stuff like that to look it up. But yeah. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys. Like I said, I'm going to film that video tomorrow, so look for it on Saturday of me test driving Earl. Hopefully it's just a drive there and drive back. I don't have any wood around me. I probably just jinxed myself, but I think this truck is strong and it should be good. So thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.